Well, Texas might be back after all. The Longhorns came in at #1, earning 25 of the 65 first-place votes for the first time ever in the AP Top 25 poll, the first one, of course. This just a week after Texas occupied the top spot in the preseason coaches poll for the first time in program history. So a lot of firsts when it comes to Longhorns. That includes Arch Manning taking over as QB1. But taking a look at the rest of the top 10 here, as we see Texas edging out #2 Penn State, maybe the surprise, earned 23 votes for the first place. And then right behind them, their rivals in Ohio State, who's looking to maybe repeat as champs there. Outside of that, outside of Penn State and the Buckeyes, there were 2 or 3 Big Ten teams in the top 10, while the SEC had a slight advantage with 4 programs among the top 10 best in the country. All right, tapping in with my guy Mike Renner for more on this, and let's start right there with Arch in Texas. And of course, look, we've been waiting for this, Mike, for him to take over as a full-time starter. The hype has been here for almost, what, 3-4 years? We see it on the polls. They're #1. Arch has something to do with that. But what are we expecting for the Arch Madness heading our way?
I think it's going to live up to the hype, truthfully, just from what I've seen. Now, it's 108 dropbacks in his collegiate career so far. It's not a lot. But I was here writing after, his start against Mississippi State last year that I thought he should have replaced Ewers. And Texas fans, in retrospect, probably have some regret about that because he brings an element to this offense that Ewers just did not. Two things. It's one, he has real deal wheels. I mean, he's going to run low 4.6s, high 4.5s. He can create big plays with his legs that Quinn Ewers really never could and didn't bring to that offense. And 2, he has a cannon for an arm. I mean, tier 1 arm talent. The guy has a very quick release. He attacks down the football field. He's very aggressive with the football. And so there's things that, need to improve about his game. That's obviously always going to be the case, but he's still super young. If he came out this year in the draft, he would still only be 20 years old on draft day. So the hype, I think, is warranted based off of what I saw last year, and obviously that's why they're #1 overall here.
Speaking of the draft, a lot of people assuming there's been rumblings that he will not be entering this year, maybe 2 years there at Texas to see how that goes. But in terms of evaluation, how does that change that process for you?
Yeah, I'm right there with those people. I doubt he comes out after this year. Peyton took 4 years. Eli took 5 years in college. And like I said, he's still young. He would only be 20 years old on draft day. So there is development to be had at the collegiate level, and especially now with NIL, it's not like you're missing out on a ton of cash at the next level with the way rookie contracts go. So would not surprise me if he stayed another year. From an evaluation perspective, though, I mean, it is just – I think it's just showing what he can do. There's not really going to change for me if he comes out this year, comes out next year. Obviously, you like the guys that play more in college. They're more NFL ready, as we saw with Jaden Daniels, saw with Bo Nix last year. The guys who only have, a year or so of starter experience, it doesn't help your transition to the NFL. So it would not surprise me if we see 2 more years of him at Texas.
All right, so while we wait for Arch Manning, there are some that will be entering the draft coming up next year there, and talk about a Caleb Downs, one of those names. What is the prospect of him?
Yeah, he is my safety 1 in this draft class as it stands right now. And we haven't seen a safety go top 10 since 2017. That was Jamal Adams. The highest drafted one since then is Kyle Hamilton. Obviously, he's worked out pretty well. He went 14th overall. I think this guy could go top 10. I watch his tape dating back to his freshman year in Alabama, to his sophomore year at Ohio State. I just don't see weaknesses. I mean, he's 6 foot, 205, ideal size for the position. Last year in 16 games, he allowed only 123 yards of coverage all season long. I liken it to this. You played those old school Madden games, the new when football games were just coming out on N64 or Xbox. Used to be able to just go anywhere at will. If you're going one way, you can all of a sudden turn the other way and keep the same speed. That's how Caleb Downs is on the football field. He just has a unique level of athleticism that's going to play at any position on defense.
All right, what about Texas? Because they're known for having at least maybe 1 or 2 defensive players that come out. Anthony Hill might be the next, I guess you could say, second-level best player they have.
Yeah, he's my linebacker 1. We got safety 1. We got linebacker 1 in this. He is a big mover at the linebacker position. He's 6'4", 240, and the kind of guy, he could drop down and play defensive end if he wanted to. This is just the way he's built. He had a pick 6 early on last season where he looked like a running back once he got the ball in his hands. He was juking guys. He was trying to hurdle. He just moves the way you want a first-round linebacker to move. I liken him to old school Texas linebacker. I say old school, it was like 20 years ago. Derek Johnson, because of the physicality he plays with as well. He forced 4 fumbles last year. This guy goes for the strip, he goes for the football, and he comes in with violence every time he plays. So I can't wait to see what he does for an encore, because last year he was a massive part to that defense. It should only be getting better.
Let's go back to Ohio State. Of course, some call it wide receiver U. Cardinal Tate, is he that next great one?
Well, he's not even as great as his teammate, but he could be their next first rounder. I do see first round type of talent in this guy, 6'3", 191, and unlike a lot of taller wide receivers, he is smooth. I mean, in and out of his breaks. A lot of 6'3", 6'4" wide receivers, they struggle to sink, get low enough to get out of your breaks, to run a full route tree. That is not the case with Cardinal Tate. He's almost like smooth to a fault. He really just like never goes full throttle, never looks out of control. And like all those Ohio State wide receivers coached by Brian Hartline, the guy is a technician. So if he just produces a little more, because that's really the only thing left. It was not a pass-heavy offense last year, just had over 600 yards all season long. If he has a 1,000-yard year this year, I think he's going to be a first rounder.
How about a pair of guys that we'll see in the opener, Sonny Styles and Trevor Gooseby? Where are they laying for you?
Yeah, these guys haven't gotten a ton of hype, but I think both could very well be first rounders. Gooseby because, well, he wasn't a starter last year. You had top 10 pick Kelvin Banks there starting on the left side, but he's a high-level athlete. When he was called upon, when Kelvin Banks was injured, he came in and pass protected better than Cameron Williams on the right side, who was a starter there. Like, he looked like a player already as a true sophomore. I think with a full year of starter experience under his belt, he could end up first rounder. And then Sonny Styles at linebacker in Ohio State, he's the most athletic linebacker in the country. What he can do from a pure range perspective is special, and more often than not, at the end of the day, that's what the NFL cares about, the linebacker position. So he has a good shot to go first round if he puts together a big season.
And then I'm going to give you the two best guys. I think that obviously they can't come out this year, but you can argue they're the best athletes on the field, Jeremiah Smith and Colin Simmons. Where would they fall on that draft board for you?
Yeah, Jeremiah Smith, if he was in this class, he'd be the #1 overall player. If he was in last class, he would have been the #1 overall player. This guy is truly a different caliber specimen. 6'3", 223, hit almost 24 miles per hour on the GPS, 20 bench reps, 11-foot broad jump. I mean, just one of the most spectacular athletes I've ever seen on a football field. And he was a true freshman last year. Just hard to fathom what the next step for him is going to look like. So obviously, whenever he comes out, that guy's going to be a top 3 to 5 pick. And then Colin Simmons is similarly on the defensive side of the ball. And it's just like he looks like Abdul Carter, but he's 2 years younger. He's 6'3", 238. He's a little undersized. Needs to get stronger to get that, top 5 billing that Carter ended up getting. But his ability to just run around tackles and then the bend to the edge, when you see an athlete like that, the floor for that guy is like top 10 pick. So whenever he is able to come out, that's where he's going to go.
And Mike, before I let you go, in this opener between the two sides, how many first rounders do you think we get between the two teams?
Gosh, I mean, at least I'm saying, so it depends on obviously who comes out, but we're in the neighborhood of about a half dozen at this point between the two teams. So probably about 20% of that first round could be coming and playing in this game.
That is crazy from two schools. That is crazy. Mike Renner, as always, appreciate your time downloading in when it comes to everything, the closer we get to college football. Speaking of college football, the College Football Insiders had their first episode yesterday for their new show. You have to check it out on YouTube. Also, use that QR code or wherever you get those pods.